prime example of like what we're trying to get at with the whole idea, like what being a craftsman is. It's like, it's deeper than whatever you're just trying to master per se. Like if you're trying to be good at golf, you're not just hitting golf balls every day, just trying to be good at it. You take it a step further. You're trying to impact the youth and trying to impact other people who may be watching you to kind of give them hope and give them motivation, like, oh, I can do that too. So it's just not like self-centered when you're a craftsman. It's more so like people-centered. To where it's like, it's about the others around you.
Right. So there's three main things that make someone a craftsman, right? It took us a while to be able to define it, but okay, the craftsman we say is someone who achieves, overcomes, and inspires.
I feel like you hit it on the nail in regards to like the various 3 different bullet points that we have as to like what fulfills being a craftsman. And there could be like various other components. Like we're still like through our podcast, that is our hope. We're providing you with the tools in order to be able to, you know, add more to the puzzle, add more to what being a craftsman means. But those are just like the 3 pillars that we operate off of.
Right.
But in regards to like achieving, I mean, whatever you find achievement to you, it's no high standard to where it's like, oh, you have to be the president of the United States, or oh, you have to win a national championship in order to achieve something. It can be as little as, oh, like.
And I also want to make the distinction. It's not necessarily us, like we're like the 2 of us. We're going to give you all the tools you need to be a craftsman. We know that it's not that. It's like, okay, we're going through this stage right now. You know, just out of college, just entered the workforce, business psychology professionals, right? And it's like we're going through the same thing and like have the same questions as everybody else, and lack of answers. So that's why I think it's an interesting like time to do this now. It's like through our platform, we have to gain stories and perspective, like for us, you know, about how to become a craftsman, because that's our pursuit. Our main goal in life is to become a craftsman at whatever you choose to do. Right.
And I think the pivotal point there too, in regards to like whoever, you know, may be following our podcast or whoever is like, you know, intrigued in our ideas, just like we're seeking the information.
Yeah.
We don't know all the answers, we're just seeking it. We just hope others come along for the ride.
Right.
As to how they can also be craftsmen and apply it to their own profession that they might be trying to take on and be able to achieve it.
I think there's a lot of pressure, right, for people our age or our generation, the idea of.
We were talking earlier, bro, you had this cool story to where, I mean, me and you, we always indulge in like various conversations, but you were talking about, you know, an individual as into like how it can relate to other people our age and how we all want to have it figured out.
Okay, so we know several people who they graduated college, they got their degree, and they're kind of stuck transitioning or trying to figure out, like, am I doing the right thing?
Right.
Or maybe you see other people doing certain things and you say, oh, you look at your life and it's like, oh, I'm not doing enough. I should be doing something. Like, look at what I'm doing versus what they're doing, or what I should be doing. And I don't think that's totally fair. I think that's something that everyone kind of struggles with, or at least keeps in the back of their head, like, oh, should I be doing something different? Should I be on a different path? Am I on the right path? How do I know if I am? How do I know if I'm not? Right?
I feel like one of those pillars is just like the idea of like comparison being the thief of all joy. And I feel like one of those things, like you talking about, oh, like we should have it all figured out, is me and you, we don't even have it, you know, all figured out per se. So where, I mean, I can attribute my own story and my position to where I remember I was talking to you, I'm like, bro, I cannot find the position that I want. I cannot find the job that I want.
Yeah.
But then throughout that whole phase of like me trying to search for a job that fit me and fit my career, I was learning something throughout the whole process.
But you were doing that so from the time you graduated to you got the job, which you were very happy with now, right? It was like what, 10 months, 9 months?
Yeah.
So, and I remember like it was kind of a struggle for a while. You're thinking like, oh, I'm not doing enough. Like I'm ready to get after it now. But that doesn't. Sometimes there's nothing wrong with waiting. You know, just like figuring it out, take some time, right? So tell us how you navigate that, and now you come.
No, bro, it's like that's one of the things.
A long way.
I talk to people now and like looking at hindsight to where how you were saying like we look at other people and it's like, oh, maybe we should be doing more, maybe we should, you know, need to be doing what they're doing, whatever the case may be. And that was kind of the position that I was in. It was like I saw like various, you know, graduates, various people, like various friends, you know, having their position, being happy within the position. And it's like, shoot, when is my time gonna come? Like, I've been putting in the work, like I'm doing everything that I need to possibly do in order to obtain a job that I like and that sets me up for my career.
It can put you into like this dark place too, you know?
Yeah. And I felt so stagnant, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I remember I was talking to you, I'm
That's
like,
the
bro,
word.
I just feel stagnant. I feel like I'm just not, me saying like, oh, I feel like I'm not doing enough, it just felt like I wasn't doing anything.
Yeah,
Like,
and part of the problem is not necessarily that you're not willing to do the work,
Yep.
that sometimes you don't know, okay, what is the work that I
Yep.
need to be doing?
Yep.
There is no answer to that.
Yep.
There is no one right answer to that. So that's why this is, I think, this is valuable we're having these conversations with various guests,
Mm-hmm.
people, various craftsmen,
Mm-hmm.
people who've achieved, overcome, and inspired,
Yep. Yep.
And getting various insight from that, how we can, reflect and apply that
Right.
to our lives.
Yep. And I look at it in hindsight to where it's like, it requires a lot of patience too. Like, every guest that we've had on, per se, I feel like we can throw in the idea of like patience, because for my situation, it was like 8-9 months. I'm just sitting there like, bro, like, when is it gonna be my time? When am I gonna do something that's impactful to me and is gonna set me
It's
up?
funny you said it, because looking back,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, I was there stagnant 9 months. I wasn't really doing anything. But looking back, okay, it's hard to see when you're in it. Like those 9 months seemed like it was one of the most valuable things I could have.
That was one of the best things that ever happened to me.
Why?
Bro, to where it's like, I told you that one day to where I was like, bro, like, God was talking to me, I'm a man of faith, and I was like, sometimes God has to sit you down in order to stand you back up. So where I'm sitting there and I'm just like, shoot, like, throughout that whole phase, I was like, either I can just sit there and say like, oh, I'm stagnant and I'm not getting nothing out of it, or I can switch my whole mindset and switch my perspective as into like, how is this going to prepare me for when I do get that opportunity? And now looking back in hindsight, and I'm like looking at all those various different job opportunities, I was like, there's no way I was ready for them. Because if I had that same mindset, saying like, oh, I should be doing what they're doing, and I wasn't fully invested in my craft, what I was trying to get at,
It worked out. It's almost like you get the sense like the path was already written in a way.
Right. And it's like, it's just so unique to like various like individuals, and that's why I always say like, especially people our age, it's like we're not supposed to have it figured out. We just need to navigate our own paths, our own uniqueness and success, because that's what's going to get us ultimately to mastering our craft. It's not going to be anything else, saying like, oh, like maybe I should try what he's doing, try what he's doing. No, like your craft is your craft. How you master it is up to you.
And it's funny, like when you're in those moments, in those 9 months,
Mm-hmm.
like it's crazy also like how fast it changed too.
Yep.
Like 2 weeks before you got your offer,
Yep.
the one that was like, okay, this is the right one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have no idea what opportunities or what people you're gonna come across, right? And how that's gonna change your life like that, like
Exactly.
immediately.
Exactly.
And you can't, that's why also it's hard to set, if people want to set an agenda, there's all these questions that,
Mm-hmm.
that you think you need to know, oh, what's my life purpose? What's my life passion?
Mhm.
How do I want to impact people? I don't think it's fair to answer those questions. It's not fair to set an agenda,
Mhm.
because then you're limiting yourself too. You don't know who you're gonna meet, you don't know what opportunities are gonna come in front of you. So it's like, if you just have I think a better approach, you just have like a starting point.
Yep.
Right, you have a starting point,
Expand on that.
and then you're open, okay, so, like, I don't have an agenda. I mean, I'm in graduate school.
Right.
And I have, got my job with Honda, that's been fantastic, working HR and talent development, that's been fantastic. And people ask me, okay, where do you want to end up? Like, what's your ultimate goal? And I say, I'm open. Like, I'm open. I have a starting point. This is my starting point, okay? In graduate school, right? You got your industrial organizational psychology, right?
Yeah.
That's the skill set that I'm working on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm starting working in the HR talent development space, meeting people, learning as much as I can, right?
Mhm.
I don't know exactly where it's going to go, and I'm not setting an agenda,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't think that's fair, because I don't know what's going to come out. I have things I'm working on.
Right.
I have a direction, but I don't know exactly where within that I'm going to
Sure.
go. So I don't want to limit myself to, okay, I want to do this one
For
thing,
sure.
right?
For
So
sure.
then you're blind to all the other things that maybe you could do with your skills and with the experience and connections that you're
Right.
building.
Because like what I'm picking up from what you're putting down is just the idea of like, as long as you're doing something,
Yes.
as long as you're doing something that can open up an array of opportunities that you may have not even seen to be possible.
Right.
Because throughout my period of like, oh, I'm feeling stagnant, I'm networking, oh, I'm still working, I'm at the golf course, I'm still working on my various different crafts, I'm working on my, self, just to like be prepared when that time does come.
Yeah. I remember you had a quote, always good for a good quote sometimes, I feel like. So you said, you have no idea, what was it, where your name is being, you say the quote.
You have no idea what rooms your name might be spoken in right now.
And by whom?
And by whom.
You might not even know those people.
Exactly.
You're like, dang, that's crazy. I'm thinking about that, got me
Exactly.
shook up.
And that's one of those things too, it's like, when I say like you have no idea what rooms your name might be spoken in right now and by whom, is the idea of like how you operate as a person on a day-to-day basis. You're always being watched, you're always talking to various different people, and you never know how that person might be able to impact, affect, or be able to help you down the road. So as long as you're putting your best foot forward, even on the days to where it's like, oh, I feel stagnant, or I feel like I'm not doing enough, and I'm not in the place that I want to be, other people are willing to help you.
That's another thing. I think also something that I picked up on from, especially like being just starting off at Honda.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, you have like a great culture, and they're trying to like help you develop as much as you can.
Right.
How willing people are to help you.
Yep.
I think that's something where people our age get stagnant,
Mm-hmm.
is they don't take advantage of the networking opportunities that are available to them.
Certainly.
Like, think of it, you gotta think of it in reverse. Like, if you're, like, everybody's been in our position right now.
Mhm.
Okay, so if you in 30 years from now, if someone our age comes up to you and says, hey, I just graduated, I'm still trying to like figure out what to do, I'm kind of struggling,
Yep.
you know, getting to like raising my game, finding my craft, finding my
Right.
spot.
Right.
Would you be willing, I'm kind of interested in what you do, would you be willing to help me or talk to me for a little bit? Like, of course, you're gonna do that,
People,
right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you almost like gotta think of it from that perspective, how people actually wanna help you, and it's mutually beneficial.
Right. And that's one of the things where it's like, you want to make sure each of your experiences, whether they're good or bad, are valuable to you, because you never know how those experiences might be able to help and impact somebody else down the line.
Right, and who might be able to help you, or who you might be able to help with
Exactly.
your experiences and your unique story.
So that's what we always say, bro. It's like the great ones tie it back. The craftsmen tie it back. So where it's like you're just not in it for like the money or the fame or whatever the case may be. Like you're in it to make an impact on other people.
I think that is ultimately, like, that's probably the most important part of being a craftsman. Okay, so we have the three parts, right?
Yeah.
Achieve, overcome, inspire. That's what makes you a craftsman. I mean, there's a lot of people who've achieved great success, who've overcome difficult circumstances.
Mhm.
But like, what does that matter unless you're then using the third one, like using your position, using your story, using anything that you've struggled with or
Mhm.
done, good or bad,
Mhm.
like to benefit, you know, like to benefit
Mhm.
the next generation or the next, or anyone in your community.
I was looking at Inky Johnson. You know how Inky
Yeah.
Johnson be getting your mind
Yeah,
right,
no,
whatever
he-
the case
yeah,
may
he
be, to
does.
start your day. And he said, "I'm in it to win the championship." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? In it to win the championship?" And I'm like, "How can I apply that to my own existence? How can I apply it to my own like path that I'm down like right now?" I'm in it to win the championship, to be able to impact so many different people like across the world. I want to be able to empty myself by the time my life is over. Not just say like, oh, I was able to obtain like this and that. I was able to impact so many
Yeah.
different people in a positive
Right,
way.
because then anything you do, any achievement doesn't matter unless you do that.
It
I
don't
mean, it's
matter.
cool and all, it feels
Yeah.
good, like the ego, like,
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't do that, like, it feels
Yeah.
great, you know,
Mhm.
when you,
Mm-hmm.
if you're not trying to win, like, what are you doing? But, I mean, yeah, it does, like, it's what you do with that,
Yep.
right?
Indeed.